So in this video clip, we are going to do segmentation. Switch to Enterprise Miner. So we are using a new data source named Census 2000. So let's create a new data source. After you download and locate it at the same location under H drive, my documents, and my SES files. So then use this data source wizard, go to browse and select your library, and then you get your new data set. And we don't make any changes throughout these steps. Just to note that there are 33,178 observations, and then there are only 7 inputs. So go all the way to the last step. Longitude, latitude, household size, household income, the density, and so on. So go all the way to the end and finish it. And once the new data source is created, right click and select edit variables. And these are the inputs you have. And select all listed inputs by highlighting. And then right click, so not the right click, just select explore. So we'd like to see histogram of each input we have. And what we did in class is basically we filter out cases where some of those inputs don't seem values of one of the inputs, the average household size, when it is reported to be 0, we filter out those cases. So to do that, by looking at, we visually inspect the histograms of all the inputs, and we look for some signs of mistakes or the errors. And whenever there are such cases, we basically excluded such observations entirely from our subsequent analysis. All right, so we have ID, longitude, latitude, household size. So let me maximize household size and then increase the number of beans from 10 to 100. And this is the problematic portion. So why we have this many as 1,081 observations where household size is reported to be 0. So our remedy for this is simply ignore all these cases. So I am going to exit out and exit out this too. And to perform filtering, we will bring a filter node. But before that, you have to drag the new data source. And then you drag the filter tool from sample tab. So here is the filter. And you connect data source to filter. And within filter, what we are going to do is, since all the inputs we have, they are continuous, they are interval. So instead of using default filtering method, which is beyond and above 3 standard deviations away from mean, by default, filtering tool excludes or filter out such cases. But instead of using that, we are using our own the rule or limits. So let us specify, use a specified limit, and then select interval variables. And here we define the rule that we'd like to use. So the rule will be extremely simple. Whenever the value of household size is less than sufficiently small value, say 0.1, when this condition is met, we are filtering out that observation. So with this change, enter, and OK, and let's run the filter node. So our expectation is out of 33,178 observations in total, we are going to exclude 1,081 cases. They are the ones where the number of household, the size of household is 0, basically less than 0.1. So if you look at the results, and if you scroll down the output window, so we did exclude this many observations as a result. So and then exit out. And our main business is do clustering. So to run clustering analysis from Explorer tab, there is a node named cluster. And connect filter to the cluster node. And within cluster, select variables right under train heading. And we specify and we select the variables that will enter the clustering model. So we are going to use only 3 inputs: the median, the mean household size, the household income, and regional density. Other variables except ID, they will not be used. So I'm gonna change their use to yes, and then these 2 as no, and the last one is also no. So 3 yeses, and ID is basically it serves as the ID key. This will not enter the models. Only these 3. So select OK. All right, then make sure that if you look at the train heading, the internal standardization method is by default selected as standardization. So to account for differences in scale among inputs, we should standardize all our inputs before we run clustering analysis. And right below that, you can specify by choosing user specify how many clusters you want. So in the case of k means clustering, we have to specify the value for k. So user specify, and then you can enter your preferred number of clusters. So I just go with 10, and that's it. I guess that's all I need to say. And then run the cluster node. almost there. All right, it's done finally. And the pie chart shows the size of each cluster, and the mean statistics table. Again, you can see the frequency of clusters, the size of clusters, the exact number. So this is the result.